Thank you so much for your time. Well, we're finally here. Does it feel like a very seminal Ashes series, given the last Ashes series, how far not just women's cricket but women's sport has advanced in this country?
Yeah, I think so. I think it feels like the biggest build-up we've ever had in terms of how it's been marketed, in terms of ticket sales, in terms of just being in big grounds at prime time slots, really, which is amazing. And yeah, the build-up certainly feels like it's been a bit bigger than any series we've been in. I'm certainly excited to get going.
Sorry, how does that sort of impact on you, or do you just try and shut out the noise?
I think it's been quite fun. We've obviously been asking for this for a long time, and I think it's right that we kind of enjoy it and enjoy playing at Test at Trent Bridge over 5 days. And yeah, I think as a group we just tried to embrace it and tried to stay in our little bubble a little bit, be really focused on what we've got to do, and actually the camp's probably been the most relaxed that I've felt for a long time. Everyone seems pretty calm and just excited to get going now.
And the thousands and thousands that are going to turn up over these next 5 days, I mean, you all saw how Edgbaston was. Are you going to be counting on the crowd to act as a little bit of a, the 12th man sort of thing?
Certainly. I think we're obviously playing against a very good, successful Australian side, and we're going to need every ounce of help and try and utilise the home advantage as much as we can, and getting the crowd on board with that is really important. We really want their support, and for us as cricketers we want to entertain them early so they really get behind us and support us as a group, because ultimately we're going to need that. And yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch at Edgbaston, wasn't it? And just watching the men go about their business this week just has really whetted the appetite to get going now.
Just with this new approach under John Lewis, whether you want to call it John Ball, Louis Ball or whatever, was it designed with Australia in mind? Obviously you've gotten out and at the T20 World Cup, but there are so many variables in T20 cricket. But over a multi-format series, we might see how this approach looks in all its context, I suppose.
No, it's designed to get the best out of us as a group, I think, and I think it's kind of evolved as we've gone on. We obviously haven't played red ball cricket recently, but I think even over the last couple of years, the way we've approached our red ball cricket has all been about trying to take the game forward and trying to win matches and trying to impact the game whenever you're out there with bat and ball. And I think it's certainly evolved again coming into this Test match. But I think it's what works for us as a group of individuals is trying to get the best out of us as a group, and that's going to hopefully give us the best chance of success against any team.
And you obviously don't play a lot of Test matches, so how do you sort of like prepare? Did you have an ingrained preparation? Obviously you had a warm-up last week, but you don't play a lot of tests, so
no, we don't. It's quite difficult actually. Trying to get the bowlers ready is quite tough, because obviously the volume of overs and the physicality required is slightly different to what we used to. And we've actually had a really long build-up in terms of red ball cricket. I was looking back to the Canberra Test match, and we actually had 2 days after the T20s, just right over to the red ball, get ready for Test matches. And I think individually, like I've found the biggest thing to get ready is your mind, like particularly with batting. Trying to get your mindset really clear on how you want to do things, and setting up to try and bat for long periods of time and score big runs. So yeah, you can do as much prep as you like, and it doesn't quite go well. You can have a dreadful prep, but as long as you get your mind right, that puts you in the best position.
Alyssa said this was probably one of the biggest unknown Ashes series for quite a while, given the variables, given some new players on both sides. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we haven't played too much against Australia, particularly with some of these young players that we've got, and it's certainly set up to be a very exciting series. A lot of our players haven't played against Australia at all, so I'm really excited to see how they react, how they go about their business. And yeah, we've got a few fresh faces. Obviously Lauren Filer coming in to make her England debut, and any time you give someone a debut it's a bit unknown, but really confident that she's going to go out and do a really good job for us.
It's the big question, isn't it, over the last half dozen years? How do you sort of get the best out of Australia? Do you think it's a good thing that you're bringing someone like Lauren in, who doesn't really have any scar tissue?
Maybe. I think just she's someone that we feel is an impact bowler and can really make an impact on a game. She's quick, she's got skills, can swing it both ways, and she's also got that bounce which you don't often get too much in the women's game. So we found it's particularly effective against batters in the women's game, because you're just not used to it really, that kind of bounce, and there haven't been many people queuing up to face her in the nets. But yeah, she's raw, but she bowls wicket-taking deliveries, which is why we picked her, because ultimately we want to take 20 wickets.
It must have been a really difficult decision. I mean, was it between her and Izzy? And
yeah, it was. Yeah, and Izzy's actually bowled really nicely. The last week she's made it a really tough decision for us. but Izzy's still a really important member of our white ball team. So the signs are really good that she's in a good place, and we just felt like Lauren gave us something a little bit different, but it was a very close goal.
How did you take being left out, Izzy?
Yeah, okay. I haven't had a chance to catch up with her too much. Obviously, not many of the girls trained today. But yeah, her focus now is to try and prep for that white ball series.
And obviously bringing Danny in as well, that's a heck of a statement to make, given what she's done in white, made over 200, close to 250 white ball appearances, I think. Why now, I suppose, with the test series?
Well, we feel like she's one of the best players of spin in the world, and a player that can really attack spin, and she's very tricky to set fields to, having played against her the last couple of weeks in red ball warm-up games. So yeah, she's there to add a bit of experience, but also to play how she normally does, to counter-punch a little bit and try and take on their bowlers. And she's the sort of person that can really change a game in a short space of time. So we've put her in there to do exactly what she does in white ball cricket and play a natural game.
Will she be in the middle order?
Yeah, she will be. She'll be about 6.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for your time.
Cool.
Very good.
Thanks very much. Lovely. Presser?